I think that as long as the President of the United States is under investigation for possible treason, that his nominee should not be approved.
That's a stolen seat. That was Merrick Garland's seat. They didn't even give him a hearing. That hearing they refused because they thought Obama was illegitimate because he only had a year left. But how much more illegitimate can you be than a president under federal investigation for Russian ties, Russian cooperation? So there should not even be a hearing on Gorsuch. An illegitimate president does not get to pick our Supreme Court. So that's number one. Number two is the ACA. And the last I heard, they were even making changes to make the ACA, or to make the try-and care even more immoral. To throw so many people off of health insurance is horrific, and it's despicable. So I hope that Senator Rubio will vote against both of these issues.
It's so difficult for me to understand why any Republican, whether it be Rubio or any of the other Republicans, don't understand that you have to think and see what's being said, listen to what's being said. You don't desert the people. You don't let them die, which is what's going to happen.
I'm one of the people that would be in better shape if it had been in place 10 years ago. 13 years ago, I had $250,000 in stocks. I owned a small business, and I was set to an easy retirement. My home was going to be paid for in about 5 years. Everything was set. Had two parents with Alzheimer's. Sold my business to take care of my parents. Didn't bother to get insurance quickly, you know, the 90-day thing. Then I was turned down because I had high blood pressure, which was well maintained for 30 years. Fast forward to today, I do not have $250,000 in stock. I have a mortgage on my home that will be paid off when I'm 90 years old. I tried to put it into a reverse mortgage, and I couldn't even do that because there wasn't enough equity in it. The Affordable Care Act not only saves lives, it saves the quality of lives. And what I want Senator Rubio to know is, be a human being, ordinary, everyday person when you make your decisions. Don't be a Republican or a Democrat or a whatever. Be first a person. Think like a everyday person.
Yeah, but he thinks it's communist. He thinks it's socialist.
No, I owned a business. I was hired.
His family came away from a communist.
I was employing people. I had $250,000 in stock. When I got turned down because I had high blood pressure that had been maintained for 26 years, I now am an old lady who could go on the streets. It's not communism. I did all the rules. I played by the rules. I benefited this country, and I played by the rules.
I'm on Medicare. I've been on Medicare for a year, and it allows me to be retired. I put my time in. Since I was a kid, 16 years old, I've been putting into the system, and my payback is now.
There's a lot of strategic, hateful practices by the other side to keep people of color and women and immigrants out of the political process. And when they do that, they have us voting against our own interests. They have people in Washington or at the state capitals that are essentially doing things that we don't want. It's important to remember too that a very small majority of the country is Republican. A very small majority of the country is extreme radical right. That is not what the majority of Americans are and what the majority of Americans want on a variety of different issues. And I've said this actually here many times, that if you look at every individual issue, the country is more left-leaning on education, on health care, on women's rights, on gun laws. It's incredible that we have more left-leaning people, but more right-leaning representatives. And a large part of that is Exactly, it's part of gerrymandering and a lot of suppression tactics to keep people like you, people like me, out of that process. So it's very important that we remember the significance of the Voting Rights Act and how many people fought and died to get that passed, just so they could get a little bit of an opportunity. And we have to keep pushing that forward. And a part of that, is including in some of that, is also, there's a lot of psychological tactics to make people feel like they can't do anything, or they're not good enough, or they can't make a difference. But in fact, they can. We've shown time and time again, when a large amount of people stand up and organize and say enough is enough, they get what they want. President Johnson wasn't too keen about passing the Voting Rights Act. It took 3 successful tries to march from Selma to Montgomery. So these things do not happen easily.